What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Jam with Jock. Delay is a staple in every producer's bag of tricks, and today I'm going to show you 3 levels in which a producer would use delay, and that's going to range from beginner to expert. By showing 3 different levels of delay, you're going to learn when to use the simple techniques and when to use the more advanced ones. So everyone can follow along today. I'm going to use the stock Ableton delay, but here are some of my favorite delays: H delay, Echo Boy, and timeless. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into it. Before we get into the 3 levels of delay, I'm just going to be walking through the main functions that'll be on every single delay. If you're very familiar with delays, then just go ahead and use the timestamps to skip ahead to the first level. But for everyone else, we're going to insert an audio track by right-clicking and insert audio track or Command T. We're going to go into our audio effects, and then we're going to go into delay. Okay, so the 2 main functions that you're going to find on every delay is the dry wet function and the feedback. The feedback is going to determine how long the delay happens for. So if my feedback is going to be really long, it's going to keep going and going and going. If it's really short, well, it's not going to be going very long. The dry wet determines how intense the effect is on. So you could have feedback that's all the way up, but if you've got really low dry wet, it's still not going to keep feedbacking like if it was the dry wet was up. So we'll put the dry wet at 50% now, and it's going to go back. So feedback is going to control how long it's going to delay for or how short, and dry wet controls the entire effect, and it's going to determine how much or how little the effect is taking place. Next, we've got our sync button. So if this is on sync right now, it's going to be going on bars, beats per bar. If we had it on time, then we're going to be using this for determining the exact milliseconds or seconds that the delay is taking place. I always have mine on sync because I want to be able to control the beats. But say, for instance, you wanted to use time, you had a track that you wanted to stop exactly after 3 seconds or 1 second. It might be better to be able to control it with the exact time there. So the numbers here, smaller the number, the faster that delay is going to hit back. Then we go to 16. Very long. Then we've got this link button here. So if we want the left and right to be syncing at the same time, and I mean left and right earphones or on left and right speakers, then you have this link to be on if you want them to be delaying the same, and off. If you have headphones on, you'll notice it's going from left to right a little bit differently. I'll usually have this link chain turned on. We've got the modes here on the right, and this only takes place when you're changing the delay while the audio sample is playing. So right now it's on repitch. So if I have this going on 4 beats right now, and I'll change it, you'll hear what it's doing. It's repitching. So if I'm going into a smaller delay, it's going to go up in pitch. And then if I'm going into a higher number, it's going to be going down in pitch. And then we'll go up. Fade creates a crossfade between the 2 delays when you're changing them. So it's going to be a lot smoother. And then jump changes delays instantly. So it's going to create a more immediate effect. Ping pong is when the delay is going from left to right and it turns it into a stereo delay. If you have headphones on, you'll hear this. Going from left to right without it, down the middle with it, left to right. The filter just controls the delay that you're going to be hearing. So it's usually set to just in the middle. And so you'll just be getting the middle frequencies. Say you just want the higher frequencies for the delay, you can put it like this. And then if you hear, the initial sample is as it is, and then the delay after is only in these higher frequencies. Lower ones. As I said, every delay is going to have most of these controls on it. Dry, wet, and feedback is on everyone, and also time is very important too. So if you know that now, you're going to be able to use any delay. So we'll start by looking at the 3 levels of delay now. and starting off with just throwing a delay on the effects chain, and we'll hear what this sounds like. So a synth lead now dry. The synth lead really needs a bit of delay on it to create another layer onto it, because it's just very boring as it is at the moment. So if I turn this on, you'll notice I got the feedback and the dry wet quite low. Because this is a lead that happens quite frequently, if I was to turn this higher, the delay is just going to keep hitting the next note and they're going to start clashing. So by having the feedback and dry wet both low, it's having that time to slap back after one note, but it's done its job when the next note starts, and then that's going to happen. And so they're not overriding each other. So that's a great way to use delay, but we don't have much control over it because it's happening the entire time. We can also do this with percussion hits as well. And I personally use it a lot in drums because I think it gives it a lot of variety and movement rather than things just hitting once and that's it. So I've got this percussion here. Turn the delay on. So I've still got the feedback and dry wet low, and I could actually have them longer because there's only one hit every 4 bars. But because I've got other percussion elements here too, if this was to keep carrying over, they might be clashing with this one. So let's see how that sounds together. I'll put this a bit higher. It's not bad, but it's a bit overpowering in my opinion, so I'm happy with it, about 20%. And I've also got it on the ping pong mode, and that's really great to add a bit of stereo width in the drums. So while everything else is the snares, kick, that's going to be coming down in the mono signal, so straight down the middle, it's nice to have a bit of percussion hitting from left to right in the speakers and just giving it a bit of stereo width. I also love using delays on crashes at the start of a phrase of a bar. Without the delay, it just stops immediately, and I think it's just great having it delay. So that's the first level of delay, I think, just throwing it simply on the effects chain. The second level of delay is automating your delay. Where this delay is different from the first level is we have so much more control on when and where the delay is happening because of the automation. So just to get our automation tabs on, we're going to click up this button here, and then we're going to go to click any button on any audio device, and then it's going to come up here, and then we're going to be able to automate that. So say I want to automate the dry wet, I click on that, and then we've got dry wet. I want to automate the feedback, just click on that and then it's up there. You can also go into here and choose where you want the automation to, and then you've got all the settings in here, but I just usually click on whatever I want to happen and it's going to pop straight up there for me. So right now on this vocal, I want the vocal to delay the last word of the phrase. So I'll have it off for the moment and we'll hear. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but I don't want to take it back. So it just stops it back. I want that back to delay. So I'm going to turn the delay on, and then I've got this red bar here, which is the automation line, and I'm going to turn off every part before that word back. And then we've got the word back here, which is now going to delay after. Now we have to make sure we turn it off again for when this next phrase starts. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but I don't want to take it back. Oops, baby. So that's giving us control. If I turn this automation off and I have it on. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but it's delaying the entire thing, and I don't want that. I just want the word back at the end, so then it just doesn't, the vocal phrase just doesn't stop completely. So I'll go ahead and add the automation on for the first and then the second end of the phrases too. So this was the first one on. Let's listen to that through now. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but I don't want to take it back. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to find someone, but I guess that is that. So you can use this technique for anything. So you can use it to do what I've just done and turn the device on and off. And also you could use it to automate the dry wet function or the feedback loop. So I'll turn this vocal off for now and say I've got this stab here. I'll just turn the delay off for. Again, it just stops quite instantly, and I want this stab to keep delaying further and further over time. So going to my feedback, because remember the feedback determines how long or how short the delay is going to keep happening for. We'll turn the delay back on now, and I've got this feedback that's starting at 30%, and it's going to get all the way up to 78% at the last one. I'll play in context with the track. And then I'm bringing it back down for the start of the loop again. So that's a great idea for anytime you want to automate something, say potentially before a drop or something in your song, you want something to delay at a really high point, and then you can bring it back down just before the drop hits. You can also, sometimes before a drop hits, the delay carries over and you just want a really nice clean drop, but you've got this delay continue over. So if that's the case, just turn your delay off at the end of the drop, and then it's going to drop with the delay off and the sound stopping. So the two levels we've looked at so far is just simply throwing a delay on the audio effects chain. And then the second level, we've taken that a step further by automating it, so we have total control of when that delay is happening. So now on to the third and final level of delay. This level fixes two problems that we've faced so far in the first and second level. In the first example, if the delay was too high and the feedback and dry wet were too high, then the sounds were just clashing on top of one another. And in the second level, we wanted to have that vocal delay turned on the whole time, but we ended up just doing it onto the last word because it was making the vocal phrases stack on top of each other. So with this technique, we're going to be able to have a delay playing the entire time, as well as it having delay at the end too. So for this one, we're going to need to create a return track. I've got my vocal delay here. Just to create a return track, just right click return track. And what you're going to want to put in your chain is a delay, of course. And you want the dry wet to be at 100%, like all your effects in your sensor and return channels. You want them to be at 100% wet, because we're then going to blend it in with these channel faders up there. So the delay preference is up to you. I've just gone for the second beat at 50% feedback, and I'm not ping-ponging it. Then we've got a compressor, which is the most important audio effects in this chain. So I'll take this off and I'll start again, show you guys what I did. So just drag the compressor after the delay, which is very important. It's going to be after it. And then we're going to click down that tab there, and we're going to click on sidechain. And now we're going to go sidechain into our vocal. So whatever your channel here is called for your vocal, click on vocal. And we're going to go into this tab here, and we're going to drag the threshold down. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall. We're going to turn that original vocal, original delay off. Oops, baby, and then we've got our vocal delay, which is in return track C. So we're going to drag the third one up, and we're just going to blend it into our taste. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but I don't want to take it back. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to find someone, but I guess that is that. So what this is doing is the compressor is creating a sidechain. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's when you have a signal coming from somewhere, and whenever that signal is coming, it's ducking the signal, so things aren't clashing on top of one another. So the delay is happening first before the compressor, and then I've got this compressor happening with the sidechain. So that means any bit of delay that comes from this vocal, it's not overpowering the vocal sample itself. It's still going to be playing. If I solo it, you'll still hear it. But because it's being sidechained, it's being ducked by that original signal. So whenever that original vocal is singing, that's going to be the overpowering main factor. And then the delay is going to be hanging on underneath it because it's being compressed by that signal. It's a little bit confusing to get your head around at first, but just follow along with that and that's going to do the trick for you. So I'll turn this compressor off and you can hear the difference that it's making. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to fall in love, but I don't want to take it back. Oops, baby, I didn't mean to find someone, but I guess that is that. So essentially it's letting the vocal still be the main element of the track, which is what we want. And it's not letting the delay get in the spotlight of the vocal. Whereas if it was off, that's where the delay would be trying to overpower the vocal. So with this turned on and with the sidechain on, it's just going to help duck the space that we need to let that vocal shine through. I've got an EQ after it just because I don't want any frequencies under 100 Hertz to be delayed, but that's just personal preference. These return tracks are really important and I definitely would recommend setting up a default template, and if just go into File and Save Default Template and just have your favorite effects here in your return tracks, because when you're producing music, you really want to be getting things done quickly. And so this is my standard return tracks. I've got this, my favorite delay is Echo Boy. So say I've got this percussion here. I just want to instantly put some delay on. All I've got to do is increase this channel fader and I've instantly got delay. So it just saves a lot of the time, and that's definitely something a lot of experts would have. Just their return tracks set automatically every time with their favorite delays on it. So to recap, the 3 levels we've got is the first stage would just be throwing a delay on. The second stage would be automating that delay to choose when and when not to have it. And the third technique of having the delay in the return track not only speeds up the process, but also allows us to add other effects in, like a compressor, sidechain. An important point to make here is that it doesn't matter what level of producer you are, you can use any of these levels at all times. A lot of the times a pro producer would just simply throw a delay in the chain, and keeping it as simple as that. You don't need to have these fancy techniques with side chaining and stuff in every single delay. Like for the percussion, there's no need for a sidechain there. It's just simply just throwing on the delay in the chain and having it play to your desired taste with the feedback and dry wet. So this was just to show 3 different levels of delays and how you can use them in your productions. And hopefully you've learned exactly that. And if you have, make sure to give this video a big like and hit that subscribe button. And I just wanted to say a massive thank you for staying to the end of the video. If there's any comments or questions that you had about these techniques, or maybe the side chaining you were a bit confused about, then don't be shy to drop them down below. If you wanted to check out one of my other videos, just go ahead and click up here. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.